Watching market transitions. I think guys like you and I have been around long enough to have seen these trends happen multiple times.
Cyclical things.
We were just talking about social media. It was
Right.
about 15 years ago, and before that it was voice over IP, and then it was CCaaS, and now it's AI. And I think where the industry from an AI perspective is right now is it's very vendor-led. I think there's a lot of vendors that have stepped up. They've seen what's come out of OpenAI and just the ability to very quickly deliver, a product to the market. And I don't think a lot of them have really stepped back to ask, what problems are you solving for whom?
Right.
Like, who is your target user in the contact center? Just because you can do automated QA or better sentiment analysis or call summaries, who's actually using it? What's the vice president of operations need? What's the supervisor need? For how do you bring these things together? And I think what the industry is at risk right now, is these solutions looking for a problem. Even though some of the problems are obvious, there's still a whole adoption curve that has to happen inside the contact center. And so, when I look around, what I see is a lot of companies talking about AI. They can spell it, but they really don't know what it means. And I build the stuff, so I can be I'm a bit of a tech snob.
Right.
But it is becoming better, faster, cheaper, and easier to deliver these things. And so I think from a customer perspective, it's going to be really important to start to ask better questions about what is this stuff, right? And how is it going to impact your business and your contact center and your customer experience and all the KPIs like we were talking about, all the things you care about. How do these new solutions map to that? And then secondarily, I'm an early stage startup guy, but you've got to ask the question, how are these companies going to be around in a year?
Yeah.
Because they're undifferentiated, don't really understand the market, and I think they're going to have slow market adoption as a result of that.
Let's talk about that too, because I know when we were out there, even when we, well, actually, let's take a step back. Talk about the speed. Like you and I were having a conversation of the speed of maybe a conversational chatbot,
right?
Those types of things that you think, they're moving faster than we can adopt.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit on that? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. So I do think that the technology is advancing faster than what the consumer, the customer can even conceive, right? And again, I've been building tech for longer than I can remember, and some of this stuff's hard for me to understand. And I got a team of engineers that we've got on this. And so every day we're thinking about a new use case and a new opportunity. But I don't think that the buyer or the end users yet have caught up to what these capabilities are, but then also how to do the change management around implementing them.
Right.
So if you're going to start automating all of your quality and your coaching and all the analysis, awesome. What's that mean to the people that are doing it the way they do it today, right? You're going to have to change the definition of a supervisor, that role, the role of a quality assurance manager, the role of the operations in WFM, in order to really realize the benefits of this yet. And that's where I see most vendors just stopping short. It's like, here's a sexy new tool, go. And then people are like, I'm not going to get the benefit out of this, I'm going to walk away. Like, what's it mean? And I do think that rewind 6 months, none of us saw ChatGPT coming.
Right.
Like, we've been playing with these open AI models for a while, and like, this is kind of cool. There's some interesting stuff here. And then all of a sudden, they put that window into the power of GPT and large language models, and you see this explosion of AI behind us, right? But we've got to think about the adoption, right? And how to transform the industry really from the inside out and not the outside in.
I like that too. I was talking to the guys at Evaluation. They came on the podcast and talking about kind of real-time QA and AI QA of scoring. And again, you have 1,000 call center agents, and now you have all of this data.
Yeah.
Right? What do you do with that data? How do you utilize that data? And I think you're right. Like a supervisor might be some type of analyst, right? It's a kind of an analyst type position as technology kind of evolves. It's a really interesting space, and to hear a lot of the use cases here, it is muddled, it is confusing, and I think that's early, right?
Yeah.
So we will see some things, but
I think what we're going to see is two angles. One is the incumbents, call it the CCaaS players mostly, are going to continue to incrementally add these features and capabilities. You know, a couple of them, TalkDesk has already added summaries.
Yep.
I don't know what NICE is doing. They've announced a few things.
Right.
And I think what will happen there is those are just going to be like new features inside what you already have, which will be cool. It'll be a button that says do this, and behind the scenes it's these AI models doing their stuff. That incremental change, I think, will be adopted faster than we want to displace everything you think you know today.
Right.
You know, we were talking a minute ago about, you know, the timeline between when AI, conversational AI, could fully replace an agent end to end. Is it 5 years? Is it 3 years? I don't think anybody knows, but I think what we can speculate about is the transformation and adoption cycles. There will be early adopters that are like, hey, we're a digitally native company. I don't want to hire an agent to start. They'll go. But the other thing that I don't think folks are completely considering is the back office integration of this stuff. Like, you've done enough deployments. There's still green screens out there, right? That's going to be a constraint to like getting a fully automated experience. And so I think we need to be thinking about what the contact center 5 years from today looks like, but really we need to back into what's the next 5 months, what's the next 12 months, what can companies start adopting today that are going to have an immediate impact, but not displace, you know, half your workforce, or, you know, put people into a cognitive overload where they don't know how to handle all this new data that's coming out just because you have it.
And you know, not every call center is going to want to go full AI, right? And we had that conversation. And I think, you know, there's things like, again, we're doing, and I know a lot of BPOs and even internal contact centers are kind of trying to take that step, right? Like, what are the tools from an agent assist to you know, advanced analytics to what are the tools that we can utilize now that I can wrap my head around, right? Because I don't the full AI conversational chatbot, it's coming. It's not fully there yet. That's all anybody wants to talk about, right? I think that's AI when there is, and again, we're not dogging everybody here, but there are some really cool companies. There is some really cool technology that is coming, and it's just trying to parse through, I think, now what is real, what is not real, right? Because right now it's interesting. It's
insane, And to that point, I'm a big fan of Agent Assist. Like, we use that in our contact centers today, and it's, when you think about Agent Assist, it's a chatbot for your agents, right? And there's different flavors. There's some companies that are doing the real time, you know, whispering in the agent's ear, or moving the desktop.
The voice, like the voice of God.
Right, like the voice of God. And I'm telling you, my agents don't even like the idea of that, because we want to empower them. I'm sure you have a similar philosophy that's like, give them the tools to be as successful as possible and let them adopt it. And then they'll help tell you the strategy, right? And like the automated QA stuff is excellent, I agree. But now if you go from monitoring 4% of your calls to 100%,
what do you do?
Who's going to coach all that?
What do you do? How do you figure that out?
And I think that's where, you know, guys like you and I that have been in this space since we were born, I think can help steer and navigate this adoption cycle, right? This transformation, because it is that transformation, and some will go all in and some are going to take their time. But we've got to manage that change at a rate and pace that I think people can withstand. Otherwise, they're just going to dismiss it.
Chris, talk about your company now as we kind of wrap this up. You guys are doing some really cool things on both kind of the technology side and then into the BPO space, kind of intermingled. So talk a little bit about what you guys are doing.
Sure, yeah, thanks. So actually I head up CX Ventures, which is 2 companies currently. Exact is our end-to-end AI platform. We started in analytics and actually smart cities back in the day before the pandemic hit. Every city shut down. So got back into contact centers, started with conversational AI on the voice side, because we found that to be the biggest ROI and impact to a contact center. Right now, to be honest, we're in the middle of tearing down our whole platform and rebuilding it around large language models, so that all of the stuff you see behind us just become individual use cases that you can choose to deploy. So if you want an agent assistant, it's easy. If you want customer-facing bot, cool. If you want to do better analytics, speech analytics, it's all custom. But because of taking that chat GPT capability and putting that into users' hands is really our mission, democratizing access to all this technology. And then on the flip side of that, we do have, we call it a boutique BPO. We've got some ad